Okay, this is the video for 7.2, the Supreme Court. This is the Supreme Court. I think this is a picture of the 2022 court. Um, from left to right, we got Alito seated. Alito, Thomas, Roberts, Breyer, Sotomayor. Breyer has recently been replaced. Standing, you have from left to right, you have Kavanaugh, Kagan, Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett. I don't know why they three name her, but they always three name her. So the main topic, or we're going to cover here, what is judicial review? Generally, judicial review is looking at a case for constitutional issues or fact-based mistakes. Which cases does the Supreme Court consider? They consider all the ones that came up in the Constitution, as well as anything under review that they deem worthy of consideration. Sometimes they'll try to resolve unsettled law. Sometimes they'll just try to make things clear. But usually there's a reason for what they pick. How does the Supreme Court operate? That's one's a little more complicated. So let's just answer that as we go along. Sorry, we're late, Your Honor. My watch seems to be missing. See, you can't always trust your clients. That's what that's saying. To tell the truth. Supreme Court. It's the only court specifically created by the Constitution. It's the highest court in the land. It is the final authority. It is truly supreme. I think let's do it this time. Let's just type everything in, and then we'll go back at the end and underline. That'll be a good way to double check that our notes made sense. Highest court in the land. That'll make us skim through it too to make sure we didn't miss anything. All right, what do we have here? When Justice Kennedy retires in 2018, you also got Gorsuch replacing Scalia. Currently, it's 6-3. Conservatives are dominating the court numerically. There's only three that are considered uh, liberal or loose constructionists on the court to this day. This is Brett Kavanaugh replacing Justice Kennedy. It was a little bit heated, the Supreme Court reviews. Let's take a closer look at this one. They put their little bio next to their picture. So you see the bread, that's a Republican nominee. They tend to go more conservative. Uh, the oldest ones are Thomas and Alito right now, and Breyer, 82. That's getting up there. All the rest are relatively young as the court goes. And the reason why they pick someone younger is they hope they'll last 10, 20, 30 years. The longer they are, the more valuable the appointment. All right. Ideological leadings of Supreme Court justices. Anyone's near the top tend to be more conservative. Anyone's near the bottom tend to be more liberal. Goldberg, Fortas, Marshall, Douglas tended to be the more liberal. Notice they got more liberal. Douglas did as his career went forward. Same thing for Brennan and Warren. Some of them get more conservative as things go on. See this one in yellow, kind of what's going up and down. But yeah, so if you're curious how people view their decisions, here it is. Scalia, very conservative. Alito, Roberts, C. Kagan and Sotomayor, and Stevens. Uh, Liberal, but not as liberal as past courts. All right, let's get to this part. Judicial review. This is the act of deciding whether a law or act is or is not constitutional. Supreme Court has a final say on the meaning of the Constitution. That's what judicial review is all about. In Marbury v. Madison, Justice Marshall um, ruled on behalf of the court, said that uh, the court has the power to decide what the laws mean. And this set the precedent for judicial review. the final holding was unconstitutional, but acknowledging that power was the big issue. I think you got a little picture of the players in Marbury. Basically, Marbury was looking for an appointment. And so you got Jefferson. On the bottom, there's Jefferson. Then we got John Marshall on the left. And then on the right, you got Madison. That's the one upper right. You got John Adams right here. The bottom left, you have John Marshall. Yeah. And so it's really a battle for how the court is going to operate. Within original jurisdiction, the court has to hear the case involving states. If there's two states are suing each other, that's for the Supreme Court to decide, because that's the place where it's going to be most trusted to be decided. Cases involving ambassadors or other public ministers, very seldom are they hearing these cases. It doesn't really get there that often, but that's where they have original jurisdiction, and they can, whenever they want to, hear those cases directly. Usually they're working on appellate decisions. They select a few hundred out of like 8,000 cases every term. So they don't decide that many cases, but those cases have a ripple effect on all the other cases, so it's still important. Most cases come from the highest state court. Usually states will have their own state Supreme Court or federal court of appeals. Every once in a while it comes directly from the district courts, but that's not typical. Mostly it's like you just said. All right, let's go back and just underline from 9 to 13. This is a good way to take a mental break too. If you scroll over it, right click. I don't know if right click's going to work. You scroll over it, Control U, that'll work. Control U is underline. All right. How does SCOTUS operate? Oh, that's a gavel, by the way. SCOTUS operates with what's known as a writ of certiorari. It's basically an order from the Supreme Court to a lower court. Send it up. For whatever reason. It might be a controversial law, might be something they have an opinion on, something they feel strong about. It's basically a certificate saying, we're going to look at this case. We're the Supreme Court, we're the Supreme Court, we're the Supreme Court. And it's the rule of four is how it works. What do we mean by the rule of four? Four judges only need to decide if we're going to hear a case. If four decide we want to hear it, we hear it. If only three do, we don't necessarily hear it. All right? That's what it takes to get a court overview. And they could have different reasons for wanting to hear the case. They could not all decide the same, or they could. It just depends. And what they're going to read are briefs or written documents filed to support one side of a case or another. That's what lawyers do. Lawyers write briefs stating their arguments in writing. Then they proceed to what's known as oral arguments, where they come before the Supreme Court and discuss and make their position known to the court. And the Supreme Court can go with their arguments or go with their own. They have a lot of leeway. But the justices will meet next in conference to decide a case. That means they'll meet behind closed doors to decide what they think, how they're going to rule. SCOTUS is the abbreviation of Supreme Court of the U.S. Go ahead and write that in. And let's underline that. Oh, this is saying the court's Looney Tunes. These are Looney Tunes characters. Haha. All right. Your suit is without merit. Talking about not just the lawsuit, but the suit he's wearing. Get it? Okay. Some more language issues, opinions. All right, it's kind of awkward to have it on 2 pages. If you get in that spot, just scroll it over the next one. Opinions are announced concerning the decision. What do they think of the decision? What's the rationale behind it? One justice will write the majority opinion, and that gives the decision and the rationales for the choice behind it. You'll also have what's known as a concurring opinion, where someone supports the decision ultimately, but with a differing rationale, different reasoning for their position. Sometimes you'll have dissenting opinions written by justices who do not agree with the majority opinion. Why do they do this? It allows change in the future. It also makes it clear why they were against it. Uh, Usually, the, the senior member in each group has the option to write the opinion. A lot of people like to write the opinion because then they have say what the decision means. All right, that'll kind of do it for these notes. Let me just briefly look to them each one. What is judicial review? Judicial review is the power to review a case and either confirm, reject, or modify the decision. Which cases does the Supreme Court consider? One's through its appellate or constitutional role, whether it's original jurisdiction or appellate jurisdiction. How does the Supreme Court operate? It operates through the writ of certiorari, the rule of four, or arguments, and deciding things in conference. And then it gives an opinion or rationale for the decision. All right, go ahead and get that written up. And that's it for the slideshow that goes with 7.2, the Supreme Court. Next topic will be on the next video.